He owns the Celtics. So, it's just one of them things. So, those are the guys that I'm big on. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you think. If you got a guy you want me to talk about, let me know. I'll dig up some stats on him. Oh, and by the way, since we are talking about Devin Booker, just you wanted my little tidbits. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
Devin Booker is the first player to have a 50-point game in the same game where the team lost by 30 points or more. I mean, that's just insane to have 50 points and your team still lose by 30. I remember, even when I saw that stat, I was like, huh? How's that even possible? But it did happen, and he's also the third player with a 50-point game in which no teammate scored in double figures in the same game.
This is where I want to hop in. That's the point where I want to hop in.
Right.
A lot of slander I've been seeing on Twitter about Devin Booker. People saying this guy is a showboat. He's not a winner. He doesn't know about teamwork. Can we talk about this roster that the Phoenix Suns have? They haven't been good since the Steve Nash, Charles Barkley back in the day era. That has nothing to do with Devin Booker. Who the GM signs, even the whole setup. If you want to know about NBA basketball, and if you really take a look at the structure of that organization in Phoenix, from the ownership to the GM, it's a mess. It's been a mess for years. But you got this kid who is he's a future NBA superstar doing what he does best, which is play basketball and get buckets. It's not his fault, man. They got Ayton with the number 1 overall draft pick this year. He seems to be a suitable player. He's going to be a good, solid piece. That's one. That's one person that you've added to this guy's arsenal.
Hey, Oubre, I like Oubre and what he's been able to do.
Yeah, Kelly Oubre Jr., former Washington Wizards, also a great pickup. That gives him 2. But like you just said, to have no other teammates score in double figures besides him, that's not ball hogging. That's lack of talent around you. People need to recognize Devin Booker is a legit NBA superstar. And if they get that kid some help and get him some people that can play around him and maybe get their situation organized in the front office, you'll see a different story. I think it's crazy. People I just can't believe how many people I see talking about, yeah, he did this, that, and the other, but he still lost. When James Harden was doing these things and sometimes losing, no one was saying anything. Oh, Harden's spectacular. He scored 61 points, but they lost. He scored 61 points, but when Devin Booker does it, he's a ball hog. He doesn't know how to win. He's not a team player. Like, pick your narratives, man. Recognize the guy's game. Respect the kid's game. Let's see Phoenix get some players around him and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say that Devin Booker's a ball hog and not say that Harden's a ball hog. And Harden, like I said, the efficiency, I just said it, the efficiency.
Yeah, what's the shooting percentage again?
50% in the last 10 games.
Stop it, man.
Right, at 50 points
man.
going.
Get out of here with that.
Right, 19 for 39. 19 for 39, two nights in a row. I mean, it's just... I like Harden. I'm a fan of Harden.
Yeah,
I love
too.
Harden.
Me
I love
too.
Harden's game.
His game. Yeah.
But sometimes he's the one more, in my case, in my opinion, he's the one that really just kind of keeps jacking him up.
Dribbles air at the ball sometimes. Jesus.
Right. I mean, it's like, it's not even that. It's just, he'll just jack up a three just to jack up a three. Now, is he capable of making them? Yes, he is. He's one of the best players in the NBA. Of course he is. But sometimes you have to realize when you're off. And when you're off, I'm not saying don't shoot at all. I'm just saying maybe pass it around a little bit more. And he is an excellent passer as well. So when you talk about Booker, you have to realize that that's a team that 2 years ago and before, they were one game out of the playoffs. They were one game out of the playoffs 2 years straight, maybe 2 or 3 years straight. And then it kind of took that downturn to where it is now. And I think Booker has definitely made a name for himself. DeAndre Ayton, I think, is somebody that really can become a dominant guy in this game.
I agree.
I like T.J. Warren a lot.
Yep.
I do like. I've always liked T.J. Warren out of NC State. And then, of course, Kelly Oubre. So, they have a couple of guys there that really just that they have to work with. But it's just, Oubre, I think Oubre's done for the season with, I believe, a thumb injury, right?
Yeah, he's just shut him down.
So,
my thing is,
with a bunch of injuries.
My thing is, you put a Kelly Oubre on Oklahoma City, put him on San Antonio, put him on the Boston Celtics, and this guy is on your TV screen every day, Nike commercials nonstop. It's the management and the teammates he has around him which make him not be as successful in the terms of wins as he should be. And I think anybody who's bashing this guy's game is crazy. And my last point to kind of piggyback off your Hilbert report would be Trae Young too, man. another example of people being too quick to judge. I mean, they made the trade for Luka. They made the trade for Luka with the Mavericks. Of course, Luka came out like a bat out of hell. Triple doubles, step back threes, highlights all in our face. Trae Young being a point guard, I've talked about it before, different positions, trying to figure out the NBA game. How's he fitting with Atlanta, doing what his coach wants him to do? Here we are towards the end of the season, and we're seeing the Trae Young we saw at Oklahoma, where we're shooting threes from the logo, where we're scoring 30 like it's nothing, game-winning shots, making passes. Now all of a sudden, one of the big up-and-coming duos in the NBA is him and Collins. Just another example of people sometimes having to wait, man. Everybody develops different. I mean, the way people develop in the NBA is a different story. I'm the big card-carrying fan of the D'Angelo Russell fan club. Another example of a guy who took a little bit longer than some other people did to develop his game.
And I don't even think it's really developing your game. I think it's really just being in a position where, and I don't want to say being in a position where you feel like you're wanted, but just being in a position where the chemistry between you and the other players works. Because just because you're a good player doesn't mean you can just be thrown on any team and be able to play. I mean, obviously some players are going to dominate, and that's what it is. But to be a good player, you have to be able to make other players around you better. And sometimes some people suck the life out of the ball when you play with them, and if you can't work with that, I mean. Look at Chris Paul and James Harden. I never would have thought Chris Paul and James Harden would have worked in Houston, because Chris Paul's a guy that needs the ball, and James Harden doesn't need the ball. He has to have the ball. Like, he absolutely has to have the ball.
Heard.
But the fact that it works out because they know how to play off of each other. One knows when the other wants to give the other one the ball, and that's what it is, a give and a take. And if you have a player on your team that's just taken and he's not given, then the chemistry doesn't work, and then all this stuff happens behind the scenes, and then you hear stories about this person said that, and all the stuff that's happened in other cities.
Oh, that off-the-court Twitter drama, Instagram drama that the NBA just seems to love. I refuse to be involved in it. But you're right. Now, before we get to our Wizards report, we have been talking about to the fans on Twitter. If you're not following us, get on that at Buckets and Dimes, asking for your weekly questions for our mailbag. We had a question come in from a friend of ours, Mr. Manny Perez, and he wanted to know, do Patrick and I see the Philadelphia 76ers as the favorites in the East? I'll answer for myself, obviously. I say no. I think the favorite right now for me is the Milwaukee Bucks. Just the depth, the chemistry there. I think Milwaukee has what it takes to come out of the East.
Yeah, I mean, you got Milwaukee and you got Toronto, two of the best teams in the league. I agree that the Sixers can be one of those teams. I mean, the Sixers are a 3 seed right now going into the playoffs. They're 49-27. They are a very, very, very good team. Do I think that they can win? Do I think that they're the best team in the Eastern Conference? No, I can't say that because they don't have the record. They don't even have 50 wins yet, and Milwaukee's got 57 wins. So, Milwaukee's got that. I think Milwaukee's got that crown with what they've done, 32-6 at home. Of course, the Raptors and the Sixers are both 30-9 at home too, so they're not that. There's not a big difference there. But like I said, Milwaukee, they've done it all year long. I
think when Toronto's at full strength, Toronto might be better than Philadelphia. But I will say this: if the Philadelphia 76ers won a playoff series between either of those two teams, to me, it wouldn't be some great shock and upset. Like if they beat the Raptors or beat the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals or any round of the playoffs, it wouldn't be a super shock to me. But I don't think they're the favorite in the Eastern Conference, though.
Well, I think the thing is you have to look at Embiid. Embiid is obviously their biggest superstar they have. He's the guy that's going to score. Then you got Butler, right? Butler can hit the game-winning shots.
It really comes to me,
right? It really comes to me down to Simmons, and JJ Redick. Are those two guys going to step up? Are those two guys going to elevate their game when it comes to the playoffs, along with everybody else in their team? And that's really what it comes down to. You're always going to have your one guy, maybe two guys that just dominates and plays well. But is Simmons going to actually knock down shots that aren't like right around the rim?
That's the question.
Can he knock down that 17, 18-footer? JJ Redick. What happens if JJ Redick stalls out in the playoffs? Which, I don't see that happening because he's one of the best three-point shooters in the game. But you just have to look at that team and realize, okay, can they all fire off in the same game, or is it just going to be one guy that does well and the other guys struggle? Because if that happens, that's not going to help them win.
Yeah, for sure. So, man, the season's almost to an end, and you know that Patrick and I are not bashful in our Washington Wizards fandom. For obvious reasons, we have not talked about them a lot in the last couple of shows, but we wanted to show them a little love because we can't run away just because our team's not making the playoffs. So let's talk a little bit of Wizards. What do you have as far as notes and some stats and stuff for the Washington Wizards going into the end of the season, Pat?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm actually just looking at the last couple games. I mean, obviously, win against the Nuggets. I mean, that stands out. I mean, that means you did something. And one of the main reasons for that was Troy Brown Jr. We're finally seeing what this guy can do. You know, he can knock down threes. He can play defense. You know, he's got the length. He is essentially Otto Porter. I mean, they're the same player.
I can get down with that. I've seen enough to agree with that.
He's almost the exact same player, except for I think he's much better at going to the rim, and he's much better at defense. That's one of his fortes. So, but Troy Brown Jr., Thomas Bryant had 20 points,
love Thomas
14 rebounds, 3 blocks in that game.
Troll master online. If you don't follow him on social media, get on it.
I just don't understand what when Chicago gave us Jabari Parker, right? I was like, man, that's a top 5 draft pick. I think he was like 3rd overall. Maybe
something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
High attitude.
Right. I know he had that injury, but man, have you seen him play lately?
Yeah, I have.
Have you seen how aggressive he is?
He's
how
himself.
fast?
He's making the Wizards have a hard time not re-signing him.
Oh, dude, they have to sign him and Portis. If they don't sign him and Bobby Portis back, I love both of them. I mean, Bobby Portis is when he's just knocking down threes left and right. Jabari Parker's coming up with rebounds. I'm talking about rebound like all the time. Like he is a man down there on the block. And then Jordan McRae. Like that guy's been playing really well lately. I loved him.
He's one of those people that you forget about him, and then he does a play here or there. You're like, oh yeah,
right, exactly. But I mean, they can count on him. He was knocking down a fadeaway. You know, he had 20 points in the win at the Suns. Jabari Parker had 28 points. Thomas Bryant had 18 points, 19 rebounds. I mean, that guy can be a double-double, a 20 and 10. Heck, he could be a 20 and 15 guy average if he really, puts his nose into the game and really, 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 brings it to the next level next year.
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked about it once we realized that the season was kind of a loss, that the Washington Wizards need to play the young players and find out what they got. And in my opinion, I think you found out with Jabari Parker and Bobby Portis, you got 2 guys who are still kind of early in their careers that you can build around. I think that Troy Brown Jr. is showing he's a legitimate draft pick. We've talked about it 1,000 times. Jeff Green was a great pickup. You hope they can bring him back again for next season. And then, of course, it all gets built around Bradley Beal. So I feel like if they can get themselves... I know we're not going to get some A-plus big money free agent this summer for the Wizards, but if they can get themselves 1 or 2 budget guys that can come in and contribute, this is a team that in the Eastern Conference can come back next season without John Wall, make a legitimate run at getting a playoff spot, and then when John Wall comes back, you see what you got.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even mention Satoransky and the job that he's doing.
Thomas.
The job that he's doing filling in for John Wall. I mean, that guy, night in and night out. I mean, he did have a triple-double early in the season, but he's always kind of, I think he's 6'8", so he's a guy that definitely can get some rebounds.
Yeah. He's had a couple of magnificent dunks over the last couple of weeks.
Oh, my gosh, yes. And then he had that one where he just rimmed it right on the top of the rim, and he looked like he got hurt. But yeah, I mean, they're an exciting team to watch. They're an up and down team. They're gonna run fast. They're not a slow down.
Defense is horrible, but that's a work in progress.
Yeah, the defense is horrible. But hey, I think that we have a bright future because Thomas Bryant is, in my opinion, one of the best up-and-coming big men in the league. I think, and I say it, but I mean, you can see it in his game. I mean, he had a game where he had what did he go, 15 for 15 from the floor or whatever? I mean, and he's getting blocks and rebounds every night, and he's knocking down three-pointers, not just three-pointers in the middle of the game. He's knocking down three-pointers with a couple seconds left on the clock. Right? Beal's getting double-teamed.
Big summer for him to improve his game, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So he's a guy that I want to see improve and just get better because the sky is the limit for that guy. He's probably one of my favorite players right now on the team.
Yeah, no, I would say the same thing too. Thomas Bryant's probably one of the guys I enjoy watching the best, and of course, I always like a good comeback story. So watching Jabari Parker, and it took him a little while to get used to the Washington Wizards and kind of figure out his niche, but watching Thomas Bryant, watching Jabari Parker has been fun. And then Troy Brown Jr. shows me something new every game. So it's exciting to see what the Wizards are going to do moving forward. Obviously, we've talked about it. We've said it 10 times. Not the season we wanted it to be or thought it was going to be, but all is not lost. The sky is not falling. Just some things in the front office they got to figure out. A lot of big contracts there for the Washington Wizards, but some pieces I see that you can keep and that you can build off of and see if you can get this team back into the playoffs next.